Everyone, and welcome to today's press conference on the second package for the next Multiannual Financial Framework, with a focus on the new justice program and the single market dimension. We have here Commissioner for Democracy, Justice, the Rule of Law and Consumer Protection, Michael McGrath, with us. Welcome very much, and the floor is yours, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Marcus, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know you've had a long day so far, and you've just completed a long session with my colleagues. So today we have completed the framework for the next MFF, the EU's long-term budget, with the adoption of 7 sectoral programmes. The envelope for this budget proposal now amounts to almost €2 trillion in current prices. These 7 proposals drive a dynamic, inclusive economy that fuels Europe's growth and boosts our global competitiveness by reinforcing the internal market, strengthening our justice systems and cutting red tape. They are also a clear investment in Europe's competitiveness, resilience and security. So let me provide you with a brief summary of 5 of the programmes before diving into a little more detail on 2 of them. First, the Euratom Research and Training Programme. With a budget close to €10 billion, the programme will enhance nuclear safety and security, as well as waste management, while sustaining critical skills for the sector's development. Over half of this budget will support ITER, the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. ITER is the first plant-sized fusion facility in the world, and so the world's most ambitious fusion project. It is the flagship of the fusion sector and aims to demonstrate the feasibility of fusion as a large-scale carbon-free energy source that would transform Europe's energy economy. Under the Instrument for Nuclear Safety, Cooperation and Decommissioning programme, with a budget of close to €1 billion, we will enhance nuclear safety in Member States and partner countries by combining existing programmes focused on safety cooperation with those focused on decommissioning efforts. Relatedly, the Ignalina programme will be extended. It will continue to provide nuclear decommissioning assistance to Ignalina nuclear power plant in Lithuania, and in doing so, it will enhance nuclear safety, safeguard public health and protect the environment. Fourth, the decision on the Overseas Association, including Greenland. It simplifies the current architecture by merging EU financial support for Greenland and the rest of the overseas countries and territories with the EU. This programme will allocate almost €1 billion to sustain support for the 13 OCTs, including Greenland, recognising their role as critical outposts for the EU in their respective regions. The Pericles programme will also be extended, this time into its 5th phase, to prevent and combat euro counterfeiting and related fraud. The stability and security of the euro is, of course, essential to the stability and security of our union, and this programme will help to protect the integrity of the euro and so reinforce trust among both businesses and also our citizens. This leaves us with the Justice Programme and the Single Market and Customs Programme, which I would now like to say a few words about. The Justice Programme builds on the positive achievements of the current programme, which has provided unique added value and strengthened the Union's area of justice based on the rule of law, mutual recognition and mutual trust. At nearly €800 million, the proposed budget for the new programme is more than twice that available under the current MFF, which I believe is testament to the programme's impact. These resources will be used to further develop an efficient, inclusive, resilient and digitalised union area of justice. We will drive digitalisation across the national justice systems. Simply put, this means enhancing the ability of national justice systems to connect and also exchange information with their counterparts across Europe. This will benefit both citizens and businesses by working to increase the efficiency of judicial cooperation in civil and also criminal matters. And we will also strengthen action at EU level to prevent and combat corruption. Weak justice systems and corruption make markets less competitive and, as we know, dissuade investment and enterprise. And this is one of the reasons why we introduced a single market dimension in the annual Rule of Law report this year. Where there is legal certainty and fairness, there is a predictable environment for businesses, investors and consumers. And in an increasingly volatile world, this remains a cornerstone of Europe's competitiveness and a catalyst for growth across the single market. The Justice Programme will focus on three specific objectives. Firstly, to facilitate and support judicial cooperation, thereby strengthening the independence, the quality and the efficiency of justice systems, and improving cross-border recognition and also cross-border enforcement of judicial decisions. An example of this in practice is citizens resolving cross-border legal disputes in a much shorter time frame. Secondly, to promote and support the training of our legal professionals, thereby fostering a common legal and judicial culture across our Union and ensuring the consistent and effective implementation of EU legal instruments. And thirdly, to facilitate and support effective and non-discriminatory access to justice and effective remedy, which includes ensuring that victims know their rights wherever they go. By supporting equal access to justice, especially for vulnerable people in the EU, the next Justice Programme will also foster synergies with the new national and regional partnership plans. This includes within the framework of the European Social Fund and Erasmus+, and will ensure that European and national resources are pooled for the greatest possible impact. The initiatives under the next Justice Programme will not only enhance the quality and the efficiency of our justice systems across Member States, but in doing so, in my view, they will strengthen the rule of law and the fight against cross-border crime and corruption, as well as upholding our democratic safeguards and respect for fundamental rights across our Union. The Justice Programme will ensure that people and businesses can trust that their rights are protected wherever they are in the EU and that the rule of law functions seamlessly across borders. We are ensuring that justice delivers wherever you go. And finally, this brings me to the Single Market and Customs Programme. The single market is our Union's engine for business, for employment and for growth, and it is the bedrock of our global competitiveness. The Commission is proposing a budget of some €6.2 billion for this programme. The proposal consolidates 4 individual funding programmes covering the single market, customs union, taxation and anti-fraud. And in a nutshell, it aims to cut red tape, remove barriers and boost cooperation between the national administrations. Around €2.7 billion in the single market programme will support the internal market, company law, competition policy, financial services, consumer protection and statistics. And around €2.7 billion in the customs programme will also fund a major overhaul of the customs union, reinforced by an EU customs authority and a data hub. The programme will better protect citizens from unsafe goods, safeguard financial interests, shield businesses from unfair competition and simplify customs procedures. The Fiscalis programme, amounting to €475 million, covers cooperation on taxation. The aim here is to foster more digital, modern data exchange systems to generate revenue and also support competitiveness. The Union Anti-Fraud Programme will support anti-fraud efforts, the safeguard of EU taxpayers' money, with an envelope of €363 million. It will do so by optimising resources in fraud prevention and detection, tackling corruption, breaking down barriers across borders and fostering cooperation amongst national administrations. And with this programme, we aim to future-proof Europe's competitiveness by providing certainty for investors, an attractive environment for business and also protection for consumers. So thank you for your patience during those opening remarks and look forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We now open the floor to questions. When asking your question, please don't forget, as always, to introduce yourself and the outlet you are working for. Roland.
Thank you very much, Roland Pop with Nipsova. I have a question regarding the judicial the judicial program. How is the management of this program, do you see? And I'm asking this specifically because, well, I'm from Hungary, and we've seen in Hungary the case when the government basically pushed through, blackmailed the judicial authorities and system to their way of reform, instead of making in a way how the judicial authorities and the courts themselves wanted to do reform. So, like, how to make sure that is actually these funds and these opportunities are not going to make it, let's say, less democratic, these systems, if some governments want to do that way.
Thank you very much for your question. Of course, we will be working through the Member State authorities, but in doing so, we will have certain safeguards in place, and we will be engaging in ongoing monitoring of the implementation of the Justice Programme across all of the Member States. This will involve consideration, for example, during the annual Rule of Law report process, where we examine questions such as the independence of the justice system, the judicial authorities within each Member State, where we examine the robustness of the anti-corruption regime in every Member State, for example. And so we will be ensuring that appropriate checks and balances and safeguards are in place in relation to the implementation of the funding that we are now hopefully going to be providing with agreement by the co-legislators under the Justice Programme, so that we achieve our goal. And our goal is for more efficient, more effective justice systems, systems that are better digitalised, that we enhance cross-border judicial cooperation as well, and that we improve access to justice for the citizens in every Member State. So we have a number of mechanisms. As you know, we have the Justice Scoreboard, where we look at a whole range of different metrics in the different Member States, and then we have the Rule of Law process as well. So we will be working through the Member States and the Member State bodies, but it will be in, I would say, an active and a hands-on manner.
Thank you very much. We go to the next question. Magnus.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is Magnus with Your Active. It's on Greenland. First of all, a bit technical one. You say that we're merging Greenland with the rest of the OCTs, but as I understand it, it's still one, like it was already one common decision. These were not already split. So can you clarify in layman terms what that means? And then secondly, we understand that 530 million euros of these just about 1 trillion euros earmarked OCTs in Greenland are earmarked specifically Greenland. That is quite a chunk, and more than a doubling of the current support that the EU gives to the Greenlandic public budget. Is the EU seeking to play a bigger role in the Arctic? The EU is already the second largest contributor, external contributor to the Greenlandic public budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. And on the specific, the decision on overseas association, including Greenland, simplifies current architecture by merging EU financial support for Greenland and the rest of the overseas countries and territories within the European Union. So we are proposing overall a single OCT envelope of essentially €1 billion for the next MFF, and that's almost double today's 500 million. We do believe that this is a political signal that reflects the OCT's growing strategic importance. And for Greenland alone, as you've acknowledged, funding would rise from 225 million to 530 million, anchoring our partnership around critical raw materials, energy and digital integration. And by merging bilateral and regional envelopes, we believe that we gain the flexibility to support large-scale regional cooperation essential for islands facing high costs and indeed small markets. And I would say more broadly that the 13 OCTs are part of the European family. We very much see them as such, constitutionally linked, of course, to member states, to Denmark, to France and the Netherlands, and while not EU territory, their 1 million inhabitants are indeed EU citizens, and together they represent the world's largest exclusive economic zone, giving Europe a global maritime reach that few others can match. And in today's era of systemic rivalry, OCTs are Europe's forward posts, and in the case of Greenland, which you've raised specifically, it anchors us in the Arctic. It has a special place due to its history, resources and geostrategic weight, and its partnership with the EU is central also to securing critical raw materials and sustainable Arctic development. And we look forward now to taking the next step in this very important relationship.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. A question there in the back.
Hi, Commissioner. Sarah Collins from the Business Post over here. It's on another item that was on the college agenda today on Mercosur. Your colleagues in the Commission have talked about this being much more than a trade deal. It's important for the EU to keep its economic edge, to push forward a diversification agenda. And I'm just wondering, given the Irish government's opposition to this deal all along, including when you were a minister in previous governments, what would be your message to the Irish government, to Irish farmers today about the importance of this deal, and would you back it? And second, maybe if I might be given your role in implementing GDPR, the other week US President Donald Trump issued threats on countries that implement regulations on digital markets and services and US tech companies. Hands off our tech companies, basically, is what he's saying. What do you make of those threats, and would you be afraid yourself as a regulator that you might be subject to any visa bans in the US? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Well, first of all, in relation to Mercosur, I fully support the college decision, and my message and the Commission's message to all of the Member States is to have an open mind and to assess Mercosur based on the facts and perhaps not based on assumptions or viewpoints that have developed over recent years or recent months. This agreement is the culmination of some 25 years of work and negotiations, and I want to pay tribute to President von der Leyen and her team and Commissioner Šefčovič for getting it to this point where we now have a concrete proposal for the Member States of the European Union. And my message to all of the Member States who have concerns or questions is to engage with the Commission on the detail, because we have set out a robust bilateral safeguard mechanism, for example, that allows the EU and Mercosur to impose temporary measures to regulate imports in the event of an unexpected and significant increase in imports, which causes or threatens to cause serious injury to their domestic industry. We have provided for the highest standards for food safety, animal and plant health continue to apply to all products, irrespective of whether they are produced domestically or imported into the EU. And we will be stepping up our monitoring and our operational capacity to ensure full compliance with all of these requirements under the Mercosur agreement. We have also signalled today we will move forward with a number of accompanying initiatives, including steps towards potential alignment of production standards on pesticides and animal welfare applicable to imported products. So there are significant safeguards in place. This is the biggest free trade agreement that the European Union has ever negotiated. At the moment, some 30,000 SMEs in the European Union are exporting to Mercosur. We see this increasing significantly over the period ahead. They will certainly see a very significant reduction in the customs that they are currently paying. And even in the agri-food area, there is a huge market now that will be opening up for additional business for EU exporters and for the agri-food sector, including the primary producers. So there are significant opportunities for the agri-food sector and farmers in the Mercosur agreement, and we will spend some time and resources now in explaining the agreement, in setting out in detail what the safeguards are, because I do understand the concerns that farmers in particular have in certain member states, and we want to work with them and we want to provide them with the level of reassurance that we believe is backed up here in the content of the agreement and with the evidence to ensure that their livelihoods can be sustained and actually enhanced because of the opportunities that the Mercosur agreement now sets out. And I would make the broader point that at a time when global trade and the system of global trade is under strain, and when we are seeing tariffs being imposed, and we have had to, of course, as a European Union, engage in tough negotiations, reach an agreement with the United States that does involve an increase in tariffs overall. And I think it's important to juxtapose that with the reduction in tariff barriers that the Mercosur agreement will involve, and indeed the agreement that we brought forward today with Mexico as well, because the European Union is world-leading when it comes to free trade, and the member state that I know best, Ireland, is very much to the fore as a country that has taken maximum advantage of the international trade opportunities, and there will be significant trade opportunities for Ireland and all of the other member states arising from this agreement and the agreement with Mexico, including for the agri-food sector. So let's engage on the detail, and member states shouldn't rush to judgment. They should see and study the new material that the Commission has brought forward, the additional safeguards that have been set out, and hopefully they will find sufficient grounds, as I believe they should, to support the Mercosur agreement that we are proposing. On GDPR, and I think we have been very clear as a union that our sovereign right to set our own rule book in digital matters, in GDPR, in terms of food standards, animal welfare standards and so on, is something we hold dear and that we will continue to uphold, and the rules that we set apply within the European Union and do not have any extraterritorial impact except for where, in the case of product safety and public health standards and food standards, when it comes to products that are imported into the European Union. So, we are determined to maintain a very positive relationship with our partners in the United States. The transatlantic relationship is vital for the global order, vital for global security, and indeed for global trade. And we have made it clear to our friends and partners in the United States that the European rule book is set in Europe and will be applied in Europe as it always has been.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I see one more question. Magnus, you want to have another go?
Yes, and this time to your actual portfolio. I wanted to ask specifically about the justice program. You mentioned that the budget is doubled. We've seen elsewhere in the EU system that CSOs and NGOs receiving EU funding are now under increased scrutiny of how they spend those funds. Are you looking to? I want you just to talk a bit about this. Is the EU looking to also tightening the screws on its funding of civil society organisations and NGOs through the justice program? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and I do want to welcome the overall increase in funding for the justice programme. And as you know, we are proposing an effective merger of the SERVE programme and Creative Europe programme with the Agora programme now, and I hope that this will meet with the support of the co-legislators, and we look forward to engaging with them in relation to that. The issue you have raised is one that I have looked at in detail in my time as Commissioner, and I do believe that we have robust oversight mechanisms in place. Of course, there is always room for improvement, and we will continue to monitor how public money is spent throughout the European Union and by the beneficiary organisations. And overall, it is my view that the money is put to good use and that there are good governance arrangements in place underpinning the expenditure of EU taxpayers' money. But of course, as is always the case, we continue to look for opportunities to improve the oversight and improve the governance in respect of substantial amounts of public money, and we will also be doing that over the course of the implementation of this MFF in the Justice Programme as well.
Thank you very much. I think with this we come to an end of today's press conference. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thanks everyone for attending, and see everyone soon. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.